3 points on Friday. What's the likelihood?
Yeah, it would. I mean, obviously, at this level, every game's so difficult, and we've had some good games against Wolves over the last couple of years. So, been looking forward to it really. Not looking forward to the birthday as much, but I think the game promises to be good. That's why I would imagine people, they brought it on TV as well.
Have you had a little word with Nuno? Because quite frankly, it would be rude to come down here and rain on your parade, wouldn't it?
No. I spoke to him a few, 2 or 3 times at the end of last season. And they've done fantastic, haven't they? They've got different ambitions, I think, at the moment to us. They're trying to get in that top 10, and we're trying to survive. So it's a little bit different in that respect. But same pressures for managers. Whichever way you are, and. He knows it'll be a tough game, but I think we're aware of how good they've been, and they increase the squad they've got this year, the better the players that they've brought in. Are
you envious of the players you've been able to bring in?
Yeah, I would have liked that sort of budget, but not. We decided. We knew all the way through. We knew that it was going to be difficult, and we've got to try and establish ourselves, and then improve the squad in the January window. We're a little bit different in the fact that we've more or less had, since I've been here in 2 years, this is our 5th. Trying to get the squad better, we're always on the catch-up, trying to improve it every 6 months, really, and so it is difficult. But we're working down that line to try and bring 2 or 3 in to give us a chance, to stay up there.
And just talk a bit more about Wolves in just a moment. But do you think that Cardiff is an attractive proposition for those players? I mean, because obviously other teams will be looking as well to try and bring people in January. Do you think Cardiff is an attractive proposition for players?
Well, I think when you look at players, we're not going to get certain type of players. I think Wolves last week had 6 Portuguese in the team, didn't they? So I think that market's collared off, if I'm honest, the best players in that country. So we've got to look elsewhere, and players are going to think twice if they're top players about coming, because they'll be thinking, will they get relegated and what the situation is. But we're still looking at what we call top players, and trying to bring the right ones in. And also, I'm aware of what Vincent wants as well. So the possibilities of trying to bring 1 or 2 loan players in at the same time, I'm aware of that, because that wouldn't be such a gamble on spending big money on players.
I know you've said before about how if you stick to some of the players who've played for you in the past, most of them have enjoyed doing it. How good a salesman are you? I mean, if it's Cardiff City up against one of the other teams in the Premier League, looking at the sort of players you're looking at this point in time, how good a salesman are you in terms of persuading them to come here?
I think it's just the difference in the type of players. I think, Victor. I spoke to Victor, and I think I probably was instrumental in him coming when I had a good chat with him on, because I don't think he'd spoken to a manager like he did with me, and I think that showed, so that and same with Ariarta. Ariarta had 2 or 3 opportunities really. So those type of players that we can get, but they know that if we get relegated, they're back to the clubs and still in there. Are you with me? So it's bringing the right type of player into the club. We want to increase the quality. We don't just want to bring players in that are as good as what we've got already. We've got to try and increase the quality in the squad, and it may be that we give them a let out if we do get relegated. Are you with me? We give them a let out to stay higher up, or to get sold on. There's all sorts of ways you can deal with it, but we are looking at a different type of player to the top clubs without a shadow of a doubt. But that's always been the case.
Are you pretty optimistic you're going to get what you want?
Well, I'm always optimistic. It's just it's very difficult getting deals over the line. I think January is even worse than the summer. I think as much as I thought it was a good idea to stop the transfer window on the first game of the season, it really backfired on us. Really, that was a bit of a disaster for us. The 2 weeks would have been great for us, because we did all our business 2 hours to go. And. So now we've got to try. We are working hard. We're in October, November to try and already guarantee people. But a lot of the players want to see what else crops up. You can't blame them. You talk about Cardiff being a proposition, but a lot of the players unfortunately think about the wage packets, and the agents think about what they get out of the deal. So, there's a lot of factors that can turn a player into, make a player want to come to you.
Would you like to see the Premier League transfer window of the summer change back to what it was then?
Yeah, I think it will next year. I think it was an experiment. I thought it was a good idea, but it like I say, it really killed us. And I think all the chairmen will vote it back in for the end of the month again.
Just going back to the Wolves game, obviously it was well documented, the little sort of diplomatic spat that happened between you and Nuno last season. Is that all being put to bed now? How do you going into this, are you going to have a quiet word with them and say, look, it's in the Premier League, we've got to shake hands at the end of a match?
No, I've already done that. We've, we had a good chat last year. I telephoned him when they got promotion, and because it's not all about money. You've still got to get a team, and I thought he did brilliant last year. And I thought Wolves. I think Wolves is a good club. I've always had a soft spot for Wolves. My first game in the Football League at Scarborough was against Wolves. In the 4th division in those days, and that shows the difference in what happens in football. Wolves are pushing for Europe, and Scarborough's defunct, although they are now top of their league, and the comeback, Scarborough Athletic, well done. So it's, I spoke to him, and then we met up at the league managers. He gave me a big hug. He's a big bloke, isn't he? He gave me a squeeze. I'm not sure if it was, a nice one. Yeah, it was it. So we talk. I haven't got a problem. You have a bit of passion. I didn't do any harm really. That's why I'm still in the game and why he wants to win things.
Yeah, absolutely. Last one from me. Just on the subject of sports science and the sort of the analysis that goes on and the the sort of the physical stuff that gets done for the players these days in terms of keeping them sort of at peak level. How has that changed, and how do you regard sort of the way? The sort of stuff that's been brought in these days, the different technologies to help with. I
think clubs are looking at anything that can give them an advantage. We've been using a thing called cryo-action. It's minus 100 and whatever, 130 degrees. Not for me, it isn't, but for the players after training, after a hard session, it's amazing how it. This is what they tell me anyhow, that the coldness, it helps the muscles, get back together again and recover a lot quicker than it did. I mean, in the olden days, I every Friday morning, I used to get in a slipper bath with ice, and physio used to put ice in the cold water, So I suppose it's a similar thing, isn't it? It's just things have moved on now to these high fashion machines, and but anything that helps recovery is great, and that you've got to use every advantage you can. I don't know how the teams go on at this level, playing 3 games a week, and I think the Thursday European thing, and so I haven't got a clue how they do that. You've got to use all your squad, because it is a far more physical, demanding league. Even though there's only 1 game a week, it's an amazing. You've got to be there to see the difference, really.
Yeah, I can well imagine. But as long as you're there with the warm towel at the end of it, I'm sure they'll appreciate you.
yeah.
Thanks, Neil. Very best of luck. And
Thank you.
Birthday for you.
Thank you very much.
Neil, you had a bit of momentum with those 2 wins a couple of weeks ago. When you look at the table now, you see others starting to win matches. Huddersfield, Fulham, Newcastle have strung some wins together. How do you view what's going on down the bottom in those bottom 8-10 places?
I don't think much change. I agree with you. And teams will win games. We will as well. So it's a matter of trying to keep in there. We know we've got to hang in there till Christmas so I can get players. We aren't going to improve dramatically in the next 7 games or so, whatever it is, until January. But we've got to make sure that in January we can get the players in straight away that can give us a fighting chance of the rest of the season. That's the objective. So, we've got to hang up to the coattails, as they say.
So do you see a big shake-up coming in those 10 or 12? Because as some clubs get momentum, other clubs like Wolves, 1 point in the last 5 games, they're losing momentum, aren't they?
Well, I think apart from those top 5 or 6 clubs, I think anybody can beat anybody, and Wolves are in that category really. You're right up the table really. Watford on a bad day, and Bournemouth and people like that can lose games. So it's a matter of just trying to put your own house in order. We've got to just try and grab as many points as we can up to Christmas, and look at the tactical side of it and everything. What can we do different to try and get a few more goals and things like that,
And in terms of your tactics, are they different at the moment at home as opposed to away from home, where you're still struggling to pick up points?
I think every team that gets promoted struggles to pick up points, if I'm honest, away from home, because it's such a top league. As I said, we're playing catch up again, and I do feel that in some of the games this year, with a little bit of luck and a little bit of quality, we could have picked results up in 2 or 3 of our away games. But it wasn't meant to be. So it's important. We've got a busy week this week, haven't we? 3 games in 8 days or whatever it is, and we've got to get points on board definitely in those 3 games, because you look at those games and I'm sure the 3 teams involved, Wolves, West Ham and Southampton, will think the same about Cardiff. Thank goodness we got Cardiff coming up. So it's it's one of those things that we know we'll get good crowds because the fans have been fantastic, and we've got to give it our best shot and try and come up with something.
Is this a good time to play Wolves then, given their poor record recently?
I don't know when a good time is to play Wolves. If I'm honest, they're always difficult games. You've got they've got the physical aspect as well. I think they say about us being physical, but I think you find that they're quite physical in that respect. So it's always good to to see teams like that have come up, fought their way up, and like I say, it's a good club, and I've got a lot of time for them. But it'd be good to pit our wits against them on Friday.
That spat you talked about with Nuno last season, in the press conference afterwards, you stood your ground and you said managers who come over here have to learn the etiquette, the procedure, the protocol of how they react with other managers, the way we do things. Has he learned that?
I've no idea. You'll have to ask him. I've got enough problems. That's gone by that. I just think you move on in football, and I think everybody is learning all the time, whether it's Nuno or Jose or anybody else. We're always learning. We know we're always open to criticism, whatever we do, because it's always easier in your position. It's always easier up in the press box or looking on television. It's always easier to tell everybody where you're going wrong. It's entirely different when you're on the bench and you stood there and you've got to make decisions and you've got to look after 20 players, and it's a ruthless industry, but it's an enjoyable one. You've got to enjoy it to be in it, and we're very lucky to be in it. So just looking forward to seeing him.
On that point, wider afield, you mentioned Mourinho. He's taking a fair bit of stick this morning for his reaction to certain events last night. Do you have a sympathy for a manager when the cameras are on him? They go to see what his reaction is going to be.
I mean, he knows the cameras are on him, aren't they? Every day, every time he steps out of his house, they're on it. Like I said to you, I think it's. I've been in the television studios, and I've been, up in the press box, and it is far easier to criticise than. I thought it were brilliant, mate, to show the passion, throw a few water bottles down on the ground, and I think it's superb. I like him. He starts talking about his wins and his Champions League and everything else. If I'd got that, I'd bloody shove it up people's as well. I'd tell them every time I got it. It's an amazing record he's got. So, the people that criticise, and very few of them have ever been in the dugout. Very few of them have had to make a decision under pressure. Anybody can criticise from afar when you've never been a manager. But boy, it's so much different to, in a cushy number having a bacon sandwich in the morning and, watching the television, watching the game on television.
So are there any red lines? Are there any limits over how a manager should react?
Well, I don't know how any manager can tell Jose Mourinho how to act. My only problem with Jose over the years is I felt he was out of order to criticise Arsenal like he did. That was the only time I've ever criticised Jose, because how can I criticise Jose? He's bloody fantastic.
Just to go back to your own squad and so on, any injuries or fitness problems coming into this game?
Yeah, we've got 2 or 3 little niggles that have cropped up, but we'll have to just see how we are. We've got 2 days more. A couple of lads picked a knocks up on Saturday, one picked up one up in training, so we'll just have to wait and see what we've got, really, without going into detail, and if there's changes, there's changes.
You've used different striking combinations over the last few games. Are you clear in your own mind as to what the best combination is at the moment? Or does it depend on the opposition, depend on the circumstances?
I think it always depends on the. I mean, we've got 3 games in a week, so I would imagine there's got to be changes in that respect over the games, the coming games. But it's a reflection on what I think that I'm playing Patterson up front at the moment, and he's never let me down. I know what I'm going to get, and it's how to fit other people in. At Everton, we couldn't have gone gung ho at Everton like people think. Like we talk about the media and criticism that you get, but we'd have got absolutely murdered if we hadn't. We wanted to keep in the game and try and get the goals in the right way, and I thought we did all right, me, in that respect. So we're never going to be able to play 5 or 6 strikers like the press want us to do, because we're not good enough defensively to do that.
But at home against Wolves, it's a different scenario, isn't it?
Yeah, we're going to try and play 8 strikers against Wolves and have a right go at them. Then I get criticised for not playing enough defenders.
Be a good game to watch them.
Yeah, it will, yeah.
Thanks, Neil.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier about Wolves' different ambitions to yourself, despite both having come up this year. You spent an awful lot of money there. Is more pressure on him than yourself?
Well, it's a different type of pressure. I think when you've spent over 100 million, I think it brings that its own pressure, doesn't it? But in the other circumstance, you've got some top players, so it's just a different level of pressure as you go along, really. I wouldn't mind a little bit of pressure in that respect. Are you with me? But there's pressure everywhere. There's only 20 of us, so it's we're going to feel a little bit about that. My only disappointment with Wolves is that every time there's a tackle or a header that we win, the opponent, a different member of staff jumps up to the 4th official and harangues him. It's as if they do it in a rota system. I think that must be the foreign way a minute.
So you've had a word with Ronnie Jepson and Kevin Love?
No, I just told them to calm down. Let them do the ranting.
You've mentioned a few times about wanting to bring players in January. You've always been honest with the players. It's one of the reasons they respond to you. How they've reacted to not that threat, but that statement that there will be players coming in.
Well, I think every player at every club at every level are aware that teams want to be improved, managers want to improve, directors, fans want you to improve. So I think it's just a normal thing. You've got to try and show in training that you can stay in the team even when new players come along. Are you with me? You do get the odd player that sulks a little bit, but that's the mentality of some players. But you've got to do it the other way and show me in training that you want to get back in the team. When you're not in the team.
Has anyone surprised you at coping the step up? Because there's always a gamble or a step into the unknown with some of them, and conversely, has anyone disappointed you?
No, not really. I mean, obviously, striker-wise, I didn't expect Patterson to be my number 1 striker, if I'm honest. I would. But I'm not knocking that. Danny had a bad injury as well, but he's coming back now. He's looking sharper in training. So it's you've just got to get on. If we'd have defended early on in the season like we've defended the last few weeks, we'd be in the top half, because the mistakes we made in those first 8 or 9 games were just schoolboy errors. But we've not done that lately. Although it was a pretty poor goal at Everton, we defended quite well there. So I've been more happy with that. Midfield area a little bit more disciplined now than they were. So it's just getting a few more goals out of what we've got, really.
Does that give you hope then, especially with the defence that seem to have settled, they seem to have...
Yeah, they seem to have caught up now, almost, I don't think they were in awe. I think they were just... Every mistake they made, it cost us early doors, silly goals, really. And, even like the Brighton goal with Sol, he's aware of that, but I think that a lot of the silly goals early doors have been sort of put to bed now, hopefully, and we can, if a team scores against it, hopefully it's a good goal rather than a mistake from us,
Just checking on Manuel Mendes-Lang's recovery.
Yeah, he's doing well. I'm a bit, you know what I'm like. I'm playing me. I'm trying to listen to the physios as much as I can, and they're telling me what a bad injury he had and how we've got to treat him, and I think when you've had a bad injury like that, you have got to listen to the experts, really. You know, I see him in training and I say, why can't he be with us, now, bloody hell. But it's just a matter of biting my tongue and knowing he's going to be there shortly.
Referencing the game with Wolves last season, have you told your team who's taking penalties?
Do you know, I haven't discussed it yet. I haven't got a clue, really, who's taking penalties. But I can't see us getting one in the Premier League, if I'm honest, unless somebody catches it and throws it at the referee. I mean, last week, the one on Cunningham, it never even got mentioned on Match of the Day or any of the programmes, not one mention. If that had been any other team, it would have been mentioned about, and looked at and dissected, whereas, we don't even appeal now, I don't think, because like I say, we've had three stone wall ones this year, but we're yet to get one, so I can't imagine us getting two, unless it was Mike Dean, wasn't it? So it was a Premier League referee. But I don't think they give us them in the Premier League. I don't know who's refereeing yet.
Now you know what to ask for your birthday.
A penalty? No, I don't want a penalty. Bloody hell. No, not a penalty.
What have you asked for then?
I would ask for a win, yeah, definitely. But on my birthday, I wish I would just ask for good health and happiness, and the football would come secondary.